there's also like, I feel like it seems like a common German thing where there's like, you go into the bathroom and there's like, okay, there's 3 more doors I have to open to get to like pee.
But it allows for like, you know, non-gender proofing of the bathroom too, which is
That's
smart.
I don't want you
Are you
behind
directing
me.
this?
Yeah, I want to be beside you so we can also look at each other if we meet.
Read your fine piece today. Thank you for the kind words. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it. Oh, that was fantastic.
It first came about in the summer of 2015. I felt the need to do something urgent, that felt bold, that felt of the moment, and I didn't know Johnny yet, but I was basically taking the pulse of the world around me in Central Texas, and this involved like gay hookup apps and just seeing the level of racism, internalized homophobia, all of that's on there, and then also kind of making my own connections with this emerging alt-right movement in America and this sort of like these people who used to be on the fringes who now feel power, you know, and I felt this palpable anxiety in the air and the sense of danger on the horizon. And I swear everybody I was sharing it with was like, why haven't you shown Johnny Mars this yet? And I was like, I don't know, Johnny. And then I think initially we just had a lot of conversations about politics and quickly understood that we got each other.
Right.
And there was a trust that was developed really quickly. And this character really came to life together through a few month process before we started filming. We were filming exactly this time last year.
Honestly, and we've never spoken on this, but I really feel like it's honestly it's like a meditation for us to understand like what the fuck is going on in the world and how is this allowed to persist, you know?
Like we didn't imagine we'd be living in a like Trump authoritarian regime, you know, like like everybody, we thought things were going in a different direction. So in a lot of ways, I felt like what we were making was kind of the pinnacle of this
The end of it.
Yeah, the end of it. And it was almost like a cautionary tale, this nightmare cautionary tale. But now, of course, it seems more of a reflection of, you know, where we're at, if you want to read into it that way.
Even just drive time radio in Texas, you know, FM drive time radio where they play pop.
Yeah.
Those the DJs come on and they are advertising something that is just so incorrect and backwards. It's baffling, and they have an audience. They have a huge share of an audience. You know, when we knew we had to do a scene that was going to be tough, I'd say I need 5 minutes, and I'd literally sit in the van and shut all the doors and cross my legs and just get lost in the music. You know, because I did all my prep according to those songs, so it's just for me a quick entry point to try to get to these emotional places.
A couple of things. I mean, one, I feel like, you know, like it's well documented that progress doesn't always happen in social justice doesn't happen in like a straight linear line. And I think that, you know, while there are setbacks, it's hard to argue that there hasn't been a lot of progress and a lot of like rights won and a lot of acceptance that's been gained. You know, like early on, I mean less so now, but early on, the stuff that I was making, like the In Their Room series in particular, I was making stuff I wish I had seen as a teenage boy living in rural Ohio. You know, I mean, when I grew up in the late '80s, it was like if you were gay, I mean, you know, I didn't have the internet didn't exist really. I didn't have cable TV, and so my only media that I saw of gay life was either people dying of AIDS or drag queens and crazy like characters that were on like the Phil Donahue show.
Well, I was very particular about the palette of the film. I suppose in some ways you can shoot a movie like this in black and white. There's a part of me that wanted to do that, but of course that makes it even more difficult to distribute, I think. The palette should be, I wanted to be a muted palette, but also a palette that was, I suppose, akin to Giacometti's palette that he used as a painter.
Sir Patrick Stewart. Please welcome the director, screenwriter, and executive producer James Mangold. Welcome to the room. Please welcome Logan himself, Hugh Jackman. Please welcome producer Simon Kincaid. Welcome to the room. I've seen somebody waiting already over there. Right.
The actress that he is and the performance, I'm so proud. I will admit, when Jim first told me the idea of the story, I was like, this sounds awesome, but how the hell are we going to pull that off? You know, this is a lot for an 11-year-old. How do we find that? And it was so clear, definitely. What you don't know, unless you can intuit from the screen, is, as Jim said, she's an extraordinary young girl. I'm so proud of you, Daphne, and what you've done. But I'm really proud of who you are and how you handle it. And I will always know you as something like me. Little bird who jumps. The character has been within me for 17 years. But not until this film do I feel like I've really got to the core of it, to that heart of it. And I'm not blaming anyone. Sometimes it's my fault. Sometimes it's just the nature of storytelling. You have 20 characters. But when Jim and I first got together, I was like, Jim, I want my grandkids to ask me when I'm 80, which one of those movies should I watch? I want them to say, this is the movie that defines this character. So there was a lot at stake from me and my love for that character, my love of the fans. I feel this movie is a love letter to the Wolverine fans. But beyond that, I wanted to make a movie that someone who's never watched a comic book movie in their life would see and get something out of it. So, yes, we grow with the times, I grow with the times. I couldn't have made this movie 4 years ago. I couldn't have made this movie without every single person on this table, on this platform.
We cannot explore the questions of violence and children and fatherhood and other stories if we cannot make adult movies with children. Obviously, we have to be able to make movies with people of all ages and times. But this film is, it's rated R in America. I'm sure it will have adult ratings in every territory it opens with of some kind. And I think that the important thing for me was that yes, we're giving fans a vision of Wolverine's potential for violence as they may have hungered for. Yes, we have some explicit naturalistic language in the film. When a movie is rated for adults, it is also made for adults. Separate from the violence, separate from the language, the ideas of the movie suddenly don't have to be for an 11-year-old.
I want you to be absolutely clear that more than half the nation did not vote for Brexit. Probably because Brexit is harder to digest. The vote only went the way it did because the nation was lied to. And people voted out of the best possible interests. But it was and is a calamitous mistake. And on behalf of those of us who wanted to remain, I apologize to all of you.
Blood, yes. Violence, yes. But lives end, and they don't come back. And that is the consequence of violence, which I think is too often ignored, and a very important thing for us all to digest.
I paint you a picture, but it never looks right. 'Cause I fill in the shadows and block out the light.